Hey guys, and welcome to the wrap up. If you haven't been here before, this is the official Raptors Republic post-game live show where we recap, dissect, and have some fun talking about the latest Raptors game. We'd also like to welcome in my co-host, Oren Weisfeld, after a Raptors defeat by the New York Knicks, 102-96. That brings Toronto's record to 20 wins and 33 losses on the season. This Oren actually was a very entertaining game. And, the New York Knicks, you look at that roster up and down, and they got some cool pieces. They're very young. That's one thing that I noticed for sure. Obi Toppin, 23, RJ's 20. Julius Randle, their all-star, is only 26 years old. Even a guy like Alec Burks, who's looked at as like the grizzled veteran, other than Derrick Rose, of course, for that team, is only 29 years old. Emmanuel Quickly, 21, a bunch of young guys on that team. So normally when you have a lot of young guys that are very competitive and are also very talented, I believe the Knicks are the 7th seed in the East right now, could be 8th. They've been doing a great job this season, coached by one of the better coaches in the league in Tom Thibodeau, a guy that's known for instilling high confidence in his players, a well-known defensive style head coach, hard-nosed. It feels like the Knicks, when I look at this roster, Oren, I don't see a team that's like a 500 type roster. Maybe it's because I don't watch them enough. Julius Randle's a clear-cut all-star. RJ Barrett's taken a big step up this year. But looking up and down the roster, you wouldn't necessarily think that maybe this team's going to be in that 6th to 8th range of the Eastern Conference. But then watching them is a whole different story. They really play as a team. One of the slower paced teams in the league, but they pass the ball around really well. They share it really well. And we saw in this game that, as young as they are, Oren, they have an incredible amount of poise, no?
Yeah, no, I definitely agree. Their defense, they're just an organized team. I think they're kind of the opposite of the Raptors, where they're better than their talent. They're kind of greater than the sum of their parts this season. Just really organized. They play good defense every night. They don't beat themselves. They turn the ball over kind of a lot tonight, but for the most part, they just play steady basketball. And like you said, Randle is obviously their number one guy, but they share the ball really well, and they don't really have ball stoppers. They keep it moving. Yeah.
Let's get into, Oren, a play that I honestly don't want to bring it up because I felt like the Raptors were doing such a great job.
Heartbreak.
First of all, who passed that? I think that was Alec Burks. Gives it to Kyle Lowry, and then Pascal Siakam.
Yeah. Real quick, just in case anyone is kind of questioning the decision-making, obviously this doesn't justify it, but the decision-making is he sees Trent open here on the wing. So he stops his dribble and he's going to pass, but then he realizes, I think Reggie Bullock is covering that pass, and he'll probably pick it off if he throws it. So he double dribbles. That's not an excuse. Pascal absolutely needs to be better. He was not very good overall this game, though he had stretches. But I think if we had seen really confident Pascal today, he would have never even looked at Gary Trent. You know what I mean? He's a menace in transition. This is one of the best transition players in the league. And one-on-one against a backpedaling defender, he usually either gets fouled or it's just a very high efficiency look. So for him to even I get it. Trent was shooting really well tonight. Trent has been on fire as of late for a while. He was open for a brief moment, but that moment was by the time Pascal noticed it, it was too late. And he really should have never. Kyle gave it to him for a reason, right? Kyle did not give it to him to make another pass. He didn't give it to him to be a decision maker. He gave it to him because he's one of the best finishers in the league in transition, and he wanted him to go to the rim. And so that's just, I think that's, again, one of those confidence things where tonight from the jump, he did not have the confidence, and it really came back to bite him at the end of the game.
Looking at the other side of this, Oren, because we're looking at this obviously from a Raptors perspective, Kyle Lowry's almost in a perfect position.
Oh, sorry. Go ahead.
Where he's between, no, that's fine. Where he's between Emmanuel Quickly and RJ Barrett. RJ Barrett loves that corner. He proved it when he hit essentially the game-winning shot the most clutch shot of the game in the corner. Kyle Lowry standing between both of them. You have Chris Boucher kind of waiting inside the paint for the roll. And then they executed this almost perfectly on defense. And you have Gary Trent trailing Alec Burks on the screen and Siakam stepping up. And at first, I was kind of worried because I was like, whoa, are we supposed to be double teaming at the top like this? Like Julius Randle's kind of rolling to the rim on Chris Boucher, Chris Boucher, by the way, incredible job rim protecting the entire game. Had some massive blocks, had a ton of contested shots, just made it very difficult for Julius Randle at the rim. And Nerlens Noel for that matter. But Kyle Lowry's playing this perfectly, standing between Quickly and RJ. And I don't know what Alec Burks does here. I think maybe he just doesn't see Kyle Lowry. I don't know if that pass was one of those things where he just either didn't see Kyle, he was trying to get it to RJ, or he was trying to decide between Quickly and RJ. Regardless, he made the wrong decision. Kyle Lowry picks it off. And do you think maybe, let me back it up a little, Oren. Do you think maybe that it's on Kyle to maybe pass this to Gary? Or do you think that he made the right decision and it was on Pascal? Because I kind of understand why Pascal wanted to give that away. He was 5 for, I think, 19 in this game. Wasn't shooting well. Struggled all game to find his shot. I think Kyle could have made this pass, no?
Maybe. I think I was surprised. First of all, going back, putting the ball in Burks' hand was a questionable decision. They probably wanted to run some sort of play where Burks gives up and then gets it back because he's their best 3-point shooter, but he's not a good decision maker, so I was surprised, and he definitely did not expect the double. So that was good on the Raptors, really good defense to do that, execute that possession perfectly. And then usually you'll see Kyle kind of drive and pass it at the last second. He's usually the decision maker in transition. Like, he's the best transition playmaker, like top 5 in the league. So usually you see him take it closer to the rim before giving some sort of pass. So it was a little bit surprising to see him give it up that early, but maybe his intention was that Siakam would swing it one more time right away. But maybe his intention was also just give the ball to the better finisher and let him decide the game kind of at the rim. That's what I was at least thinking. Because even I would rather Pascal, even if he did make that pass to Trent right away, I would rather Pascal than a 3. Like, 3s are so high variance that I would rather Pascal take it to the rim.
That's Alec Burks in the paint, by the way. So
exactly. So
there's no reason for Pascal not to just look at him, Euro step, do whatever you have to do, and just score at the bucket.
Exactly. And like, we're going to talk about Siakam's game because that's what people want to talk about. You know, like, I agree that his consistency just hasn't been there this season, which is really what's stopping him from making the leap, because he has games. He's developed certain skills that have made him a better player this season. And he has games where everything is together and he looks amazing. But in general, the consistency just isn't there this season to the point where I can't really say like, yeah, he's taken a leap, because one game it's 25 points. And then the next game it's kind of this, where even he's not scoring, he's not even playing good defense. He got back cut by Randall late in the game, and that was his fault. So yeah, talking about like inconsistency, this is completely on Siakam right here. This play I'm about to pull up, where I get it, he's focused on the play. The defense asked him to be much more of like a rim protector and a help defender than he's used to being, but too often this season he's losing his man by focusing on the main action. So, like, the last thing I'll say on this is that, yeah, that's all bad stuff, but there I am. But we still have to remember that, like, he did this, like this out of timeout play to get the goaltend was like Siakam at his. Oh no, wait, let me pull that play up. Give me a sec. But yeah, you know what I'm talking about. When he got, it looked like an and one.
It did, yeah.
Out of timeout with like 1 minute left. That was also him as a scorer at his best. So
this play is
kind of got everything today, the good and the bad.
Yeah, it was unfortunate for Pascal for the game to end like that, but it was one of those things, Oren, where I just shrugged and I was just like, I could see that he was trying to make the right decision, which in my opinion, either one, Pascal taking it to the hoop on that last play to Alec Burks would have been the right decision. Gary Trent Jr. wide open in the corner would have been the right decision. But on this play, it's like you can't have that type of mental disconnect there, especially if it's Julius Randle. It doesn't make sense. You can't forget about the one all-star on the team on any given play. And Pascal was so focused on Alec Burks for a very odd reason. Like, I get it, Alec Burks can have his games, where he can put up 15 to 20, even more sometimes.
Yeah.
But it's just unfortunate that Julius Randle did struggle a bit this game, but you never just want to give away freebies. And I feel like Pascal did that there. Maybe he expected Randle to just sit in the corner, but that was unacceptable in my opinion.
No, for sure.
Pascal Siakam, though, man, you said it bad. He struggled bad in the first half, and the second half it was up and down. He was 1 for 11 in the first half. It felt like in the first half nothing was going right for Pascal. His 3-point shot, his 3-point shot, Oren, is something that I feel like we don't talk about enough. Raptors community doesn't talk about that enough. It's something he's been struggling with all season long, from a guy who shot around the 40 clip. I want to say the last couple of seasons. I know last season for sure. But most people have just avoided it altogether because Pascal's been able to score without a reliable three. But it's getting bad now it's getting to the point where teams are starting to sag, teams are going under, and they're daring him to shoot, and he can't.
Yeah.
This play,
Yeah, I was thinking the same thing in the first half when, like, Siakam's advantage over Randle is his speed, like at the 4. Yeah. Randle is not quick laterally at all. So theoretically, Siakam should have been able to kind of take him off the dribble and get to where he wants. And he obviously does on this play. I like this play. They run it out of timeouts a lot. It's a fake dribble handoff to Flynn, I think, in this situation. Yeah. And he turns the corner and he gets to the rim and he scores. So that was a big, good play for Siakam. We can't forget about that. But he wasn't able to do that to Randle this game because Randle was just sagging so far off him.
This was close, though. Nerlens Noel, man. Or Noel, however you say that.
Oh, my God. Yeah, Noel. Yeah, he's blocking everything. I picked him up in fantasy just for one game because I needed blocks. He got like 4 blocks for me. I was like, thank you, sir.
Yeah, he is a shot blocking menace, man. Chris Boucher is as well. I have Chris Boucher in fantasy.
Yeah.
I was trying so hard, man, to get Gary Trent Jr. just before the trade deadline. Couldn't get that deal done, unfortunately. Something I regret, of course. But yeah, Nerlens Noel, he did that. This was called for a goaltending, but man, oh man, he was a force defending the rim. And maybe that was it. Maybe Pascal, on this play, he was confident attacking the rim.
But this is also an out of timeout play where, like, he has a job and it's not really make a decision. It's more just like, do it.
Do what the coach puts out there for you. And yeah, this is, oh my goodness, that looked like the ball was so high and somehow Nerlens still got to it.
I don't want to I don't want to talk about Siakam the whole episode, but like, people are obviously mad online. You have a right to be mad. He was rested yesterday. He should have been better today. There's really no fatigue excuse like I've made in the past. There's none of that today. There's no fatigue excuse. He has to be better. But at the same time, that's it. No buts. He has to be better in the future.
He does. What did you think about this comment? Because I don't know if I agree with this all that much, Oren. Do you guys feel like Pascal just cannot get over the mental block of finishing over bigger guys? I just don't get why I'm assuming Brandon Ingram and Jason Tatum can have smooth finishes, but not our guy. I feel like a lot of times Pascal's the one player on our team, I think more than ever, like when he dominates and when he does things really well, people are like, yeah, like that's great. Pascal, he can finish. And then like the one game where he really struggles, people are like, well, he can't do this and he can't do that. And it's like, but we just saw him do that the last game. So I think Pascal's still one of the best finishers in the league, whether it's a big guy in there or not. But you got to give credit to Nerlens as well. Like, this is one of the best shot blockers in the league. This guy was contesting absolutely everything at the rim. Julius Randle, as much as he is slower than Pascal physically, he did stay with Pascal on a lot of drives, made life difficult for him. So I don't know if I fully agree with that. Of course, I think Jason Tatum has a better bag, so to speak, and Brandon Ingram at times than Pascal. But I mean, at the rim, we don't give Pascal enough credit for all the really tough finishes he has. Um, and yeah, I've seen, because I've heard this before, and now I'm seeing it as a comment. And I know a lot of people are talking about why does Pascal make life look so difficult, I guess, when he drives. But I mean, he's not the most athletic guy. He didn't come into the league with this, impressive dribbling package. Or I think what we've seen from when Pascal entered this league until now, he's developed, maybe better than any player in the league in terms of where he started and where he is now. I don't know if you agree with me on that, Oren.
Yeah, I mean, in terms of like, it's amazing that we're even talking about him as like a max player. Like, that's why we're scrutiny him this hard. Like, it's pretty unheard of for a guy like that to become like a star. But the finishing is weird. Like last season, he was a much better finisher. And there's been a lot of games like this. Again, I talk about consistency where it feels like every shot, even at the rim, is just not going in. It's just clanking out. And like, there's no explanation for that. He's getting good looks, ones he has converted on in the past. So like, a part of me thinks that he's going to get it together and eventually like be able to finish those more consistently. And a part of me is like, yeah, it's a weird thing to keep an eye out on because his finishing some games is just not there. Yeah.
I've always felt like, Oren, I literally wrote this down in my game notes, that whenever you have Pascal struggling in any game, you need 3 of the 4 sources, is what I call them, to have big offensive games. And that's Kyle Lowry, that's Gary Trent Jr. And in this game, it would have been Fred VanVleet, but he's not there. Anunoby's not there. So it's Kyle Lowry, Trent Jr., Boucher, and the bench scoring. You need 3 of those 4 to have big games. The bench scoring, you haven't been able to rely on it all season long. So that is almost out of the question completely.
Rodney Hood was really, really bad today.
He was really bad. And he did have a big 3. But
Utah was good.
Utah was great. But 3 points in 11 minutes for Rodney. Malachi had some good flashes in this game. But again, 6 points on 2 for 9 shooting.
Malachi had some really, really good looks that he just did not hit. And it sucked that his 3 got overturned. I didn't even know they did that. Like, I knew they looked back on 3s to see if it was a 2 or a 3, but I've never seen them take away a 3 after like a VAR check for it being out of bounds. So that was a huge L for Malachi. But overall, I actually liked his game. Like, he wasn't hitting shots, and obviously he's going to need to do that to get more floor time. But he ran that second unit extremely well when they sat Kyle and Siakam together and kind of asked Flynn to run a really shitty bench unit. And in the start of the fourth quarter, just like last night, and he did a great job. Like this, he doesn't score, Boucher does. But I just really like the decision making, like attacking the closeout really well, getting into the paint. And then when you get a paint touch, good things happen.
And this sucked for him because he was in a tough position. Look at the shot clock on this play. 10 seconds left. Kyle gives it to Chris. Chris doesn't even think twice, hands it to Malachi. There's 3 seconds left, and he just throws it up. Chris finishes. But that's the thing. Like, Malachi has been confident, very confident in the last few games. And again, he was the star almost for the Raptors in the fourth quarter, where he was leading an all-bench unit. I called it the hot potato unit because literally nobody on that unit wanted to score. Rodney Hood, his off-the-dribble game, I feel like is not really there. It's mostly non-existent. Watanabe was on the floor. He's not really trying to shoot the ball unless he's wide open. I believe Gillespie was on the floor, and it might have been I don't know who the last guy was. Maybe Khem Birch. Regardless, though, Malachi Flynn brought that team back in the fourth quarter. So you got to shout out to him. Like, he did a great, great job kind of leading those guys. Hit some big shots. So as much as we see on the box score 2 for 9, 6 points in 27 minutes, that doesn't look all that appealing. But in terms of, bringing the Raptors back into the game, you're not doing that without Malachi Flynn. Again, but this is the thing, Oren. I thought it was kind of strange, the fact that Nick Nurse trusted Malachi Flynn with an all-bench lineup. You usually see that all-bench lineup in with Kyle Lowry. And we did see that, I think, a couple times in the game. But putting that type of stress on Malachi Flynn, a 22-year-old rookie, was kind of strange in this game. And I feel like that was the second of what I felt were not so great rotation decisions by Nick Nurse, kind of questionable. The first one was playing Gillespie and Birch together at center, two centers together. They almost the exact same player. Birch is obviously a little more refined around the edges, but playing those two guys together, roll threats on the pick and roll, they don't really stretch the floor all that well together. That was where I was like, Nick, what are we doing here? So that was the first of rotation decisions I was kind of iffy about, but I mean, it just came down to the Knicks having poise at the end of the game and really just closing it out on the Raptors.
Yeah, but you also I gotta criticize Nurse for that, because it never made sense in the first place to play Gillespie and Birch together. Birch's first minutes as a Raptor, Gillespie's second game as a Raptor, grouping Siakam with Boucher, two shooters, and Gillespie with Birch, two non-shooters, at least from three, is just a weird decision. Especially two good rebounders with two not good rebounders. Like he should have broken them up, and then he did in the second half, so he kind of acknowledged his mistake. But that first half stretch where Gillespie played with Birch killed the Raptors. Like they got outscored by 10 in that stretch. They were terrible offensively. Like they were running these stagger screens for Flynn or Kyle. Yeah. One popped and one ran to the rim, but the one who popped was Birch. He would get the ball, and then he wouldn't shoot because he's not a 3-point shooter. So he would hand it off to Rodney Hood and then set a screen for him. And Rodney Hood had no secondary weak side action. He would just go around the screen and then reset the offense. So it didn't make sense. And Rodney, I didn't like his shot selection. Sometimes he was in a bad situation where it was end of the clock and he had to fire one up, but he didn't really have to fire one up. He could have gotten into the lane and then at least put up some sort of something other than a long three, which he did a couple times. And the shot selection was a lot of guys were taking weird shots, mid-range shots from Gillespie, Trent forcing it a couple times early in the mid-range. Sometimes there's just situations where I feel like guys kind of wanted theirs. Siakam too. He was doing this early. Instead of letting last game, part of the reason they won is because they were just moving the ball while being unselfish. And this game I kind of think is the opposite. It was very kind of selfish. Some guy, at least in the first half, the ball was not moving well.
Ball wasn't moving well at all. Oren, we're getting a lot of comments in the live comments, I should say. We're getting a lot of comments about OG Anunoby. Some people wondering where he was. Some people saying the game would have been won with him. First of all, OG, I don't know if anybody, I'm sure you guys know by now that OG Anunoby was listed out for rest. So he was resting this game. Feels like the Raptors are kind of in a cycle of kind of getting all their guys back together. They got back Kyle Lowry tonight. They got back some front court reinforcements in Khem Birch. Obviously, Gillespie came earlier this week. OG was rested. So this was a game that I felt like, they could have rested OG, not necessarily that they didn't need him, but, OG's been playing a ton since he's came back from that COVID-19 protocol that he was out for a few weeks with. So he needs some rest. Fred should be back soon in terms of injuries. And hopefully Oren, man, I just want to see this whole team healthy, man. So bad. I really want to see this entire team healthy. I think this was one of those games for Nick Nurse in terms of the rotations he had at his disposal, where he kind of had to see how Birch – I don't know why you have to see it, but he had to see how Birch and Gillespie played together on the court to realize that maybe these guys – we can't do this again. You have to stagger each one of them with either Pascal Siakam or Chris Boucher at the 4. So I think that's something we might not see again. In terms of Rodney Hood, we mentioned him. I don't know, man. He has been disappointing. And I kind of get now why a lot of Portland Trailblazers fans were kind of...
It was also his first game in a while, to be fair to him. He was injured, right?
He was gone for a little while. But But I just want a little more off the dribble game from Rodney Hood, like just a little bit. I feel like if he's not, open for three, he's just not all there. It's just an extra pass to someone else and then just camp out in the corner on the elbow. But it does help, of course, that he can shoot. So, I mean, that's great. He is a little bit lackluster defensively, but I mean, it is what it is. One guy I wanted to talk about, though, Oren.
Oh, I know who it is. I know. Go say it.
Talk about him?
Michael Jordan Jr. Gary Trent, right?
Oh my gosh, Gary Trent Jr., the future Hall of Famer himself.
Don't worry, I got clips. I got
a Gary Trent Jr. jersey coming through, and I hope a lot of you guys watching do as well.
What color?
The black one, the black Ultimate.
Nice. I like that.
The little Jordan logo on it.
Yeah.
Oh man, Gary Trent Jr., his offensive game is blossoming before our very eyes. By the way, Raptors tweets, I don't know if you guys were following Raptors Twitter the entire time. Every single video or image or anything they posted, every single tweet they made was accompanied by a little DMX quote.
Yeah.
So rest in peace to DMX, one of the better rappers.
Yeah, rest in peace to DMX. This was my favorite Trent shot.
Was it the pump fake? Yeah. This was insane,
that's just so contested.
Was that RJ? I feel like RJ was still right there. He's like, what?
Yeah, he was. His hand was in his eye.
Yeah, that was an incredible shot. Gary Trent Jr., man, this guy is just a 100% pure shot maker. Like this guy, if you're talking about, you can call him streaky, you can call him hot, but when this guy starts making a couple shots, you genuinely don't think he's going to miss again. And he's able to, one of my criticisms, Oren, was that when the Raptors first made the trade that they were giving away a 3-level scorer for a 2-level scorer. But man, Gary Trent Jr., that little floater he's added to his game, I am a big fan, man. I'm a big fan. He's not necessarily Norman Powell where he's going to attack the rim very aggressively.
Look what I got for you.
But this was insane. Yeah, that's just mentality. That's just pure 100% dog mentality. It looked like, and you can't even fault Reggie Bullock for this. He guarded him absolutely perfectly here, sealed him off to the baseline, and then Gary Trent Jr. just spins and finishes at the rim. So, again, Gary Trent Jr., a guy who, like I said earlier in the game, it was really only Kyle Lowry when Pascal Siakam was struggling so bad. And I said, Gary Trent Jr. and Boucher need to wake up. If the bench isn't going to wake up, Gary Trent and Boucher need to wake up, and they both did. And Gary Trent Jr. just went on an absolute tear. You saw the 3 earlier in RJ Barrett's face, and then this little finish here, which was just gorgeous. Like Oren, there's no way you're telling me you were expecting that. There's just no way. I thought he was passing out of it.
No, exactly. Like, I was skeptical. I mean, I still am somewhat skeptical of his, like, I guess I just took a lot of what I heard when the trade originally happened. Like, he's a jump shooter. He doesn't get to the rim. All of that stuff. But, like, I have to admit that I've really come around on him in a lot of ways because defensively, like, okay, he's nothing special at this point of his career, but he has the size to guard up a position. And I think with the Raptors development system, he's only going to get better on that end. Learning the system too takes some time. But offensively, like, people were making jokes tonight that he's like the Raptors' best scorer, and I'm not ready to go that far, but like, he really does have that, like, mentality that he comes to get the ball here. Kyle's looking the other way. Trent comes for it. And he makes a play, and like, that's what I like about him. We really need a guy who wants it at the end of the shot clock or at the end of the game. And I think that's like the biggest thing I've been impressed with is like his shot making ability. Like, sometimes they are bad looks. Sometimes I shake my head when he pulls up for a mid-range shot early in the shot clock, but more often than not, it goes in. So like, a lot of my skepticism is really like faded because like, I don't like to analyze guys like mentals. Like, you can say like Siakam has not been good in the clutch. He has not been good in those situations. And a guy like Trent has been good in those situations. And and he wants it. Like Siakam does too, and I give Siakam credit for that. He wants it in those late game situations. He just hasn't been able to finish, but Trent wants it. Trent's been finishing. He's definitely an exciting player. Like, if this is his baseline as a player, imagine what like 3 years of the Raptors development system is going to do for him. I think I think the sky's the limit.
Yeah, I like this little comment here. And we got to be careful, by the way, with the comparisons because
that's crazy.
Yeah, but I think I kind of see where Phoenix is coming from. Phoenix plays Z, where he says Gary Trent Jr. is smooth. He gives me Paul George vibes. He didn't say he's Paul George, Oren.
Yeah,
he just gives me the vibes. And Paul George, when you watch him, his game, it just seems like he's gliding with the ball. So smooth. Beautiful. Honestly, Paul George, I feel like, has one of the most beautiful shooting strokes in the league, and Gary Trent Jr. for that matter. But for me, man, Gary Trent Jr. feels like every game I'm seeing something new in his game where it just reaffirms for me that this guy should be a part of this long-term core.
No, it's true. We are seeing new things like every game. Like tonight, he did a really good job getting into the rim.
Yeah.
And finishing. He had that one really nice reverse layup. That I guess has kind of impressed me most. Like his playmaking, I guess, is now the biggest thing, because I would have said before, like, he has to finish at the rim, but he's honestly fine finishing at the rim. Like, he could struggle to get there when there's like a shot blocker there, but his finishing when he gets there is actually good. I think Blake said he has the lowest turnover percentage in the whole league. So he doesn't turn the ball over.
Yeah.
But he also does miss reads sometimes. He'll miss an open roller or a corner shooter. But yeah, like those, I think playmaking, I just think from what I've seen for him, I kind of believe that it'll eventually come along.
Yeah, I think so too. Khem Birch,
Khem. I want to talk about Khem.
Resident Canadian made his debut. We now have officially 2 French big men in Khem Birch and Chris Boucher. He did make his debut. He was bought out by the Orlando Magic, I think just a couple days ago. Well, it was reported earlier this week, and it was immediately reported that the Raptors were going to sign him for the rest of the season off the buyout. Khem Birch. And I know a lot of people, I was getting some jokes thrown my way from some close friends where they're like, imagine how down bad the Raptors have to be that Raptors fans have to be so excited about Khem Birch.
That's true, though. It
is true. I mean, 20 wins, 32 losses on the season.
Yeah, after winning like so much from previous years, that'll do it to you.
Yeah, exactly. So for me, it's the difference of a big man that can catch a basketball, Oren. Like, oh my goodness, this highlight is just everything. This isn't even to say, Oren, that Khem Birch came in and lit things up, because he didn't. We know that Khem Birch is just a solid big man in this league. A guy who, when he comes in as a backup, is one of the better backup bigs in the league. A guy who can move his feet very, very well, mobile, long wingspan, and a good finisher, and a guy with very good hands. And I'm so happy that Kyle Lowry, off high pick and rolls, can finally find a guy that's going to catch and that's going to finish, or at least finish at a better clip than Aaron Baines, no?
No, for sure. I'm also excited to see Flynn develop a pick and roll chemistry with him. This pass is like a little bit low. I'll tell you right now what Baines would have done, okay? Baines would have kneed this ball into the oblivion, straight up. Obviously, yeah, like we've talked about it. He has good hands. That much was pretty clear. I think what impressed me most, this clip is slow motion, so obviously does not demonstrate what I'm going to say, but his speed was impressive. Like, he has huge strides, and when he sets a pick, it's on both ends, but when he sets a pick, his sprinting speed to get to the rim, it's so quick. So compared to like a guy like Baines, the point guard does not have to hold up the defense for as long when he's doing that. Like, obviously Kyle's amazing at that. Flynn's not bad at kind of playing at his pace, keeping a defender on his back before he makes that pass. But either way, you don't want your point guard to have to, like, the more seconds you can shave off, the point guard having to delay the defense from getting back, the better. And yeah, his speed impressed me on both ends. He's just a fast player. Like when he had to get out and contest 3-point shots, his speed was really good. So I could definitely see how he's going to work in the Raptors system. He actually talked about why this felt inevitable to come to the Raptors. And one of the things he said was like, their system fits the way I play. And I think one of those things is like 100%. The transition. He looked good in transition. He looked good contesting 3-point shots, just playing fast like Nick wants to play. So I think it's going to be a good fit, and hopefully we can keep him long term.
That's a really good aspect though that you brought up for the pick and roll, especially when you run it with Kyle Lowry, high pick and roll. I noticed a lot of times with Baines, Kyle's chemistry with him, even Fred at times, even Flynn, it was on and off because Baines would pop sometimes and he'd roll. And that's okay. Like, that's not necessarily a bad thing. Obviously, it's better. It'd be better if Baines was actually hitting the shots that he'd pop out on, because it felt like a lot of times teams were like, oh, he's going to pop. All right, let's just leave him and double team whoever it is at the drive. But the speed coming off of that screen's a big thing, man. And I realized Ibaka had that with Kyle Lowry. Kyle Lowry and Ibaka, the last 2 seasons prior to this one, of course, were incredible on the pick and roll. I don't think we ever really gave Serge Ibaka his flowers for how good of a finisher he was around the rim on pick and rolls until until we witnessed the one 6'9" Australian whatever you want to call it. This is a good poutine combo number 2. that's a good one. And this by the way was stemming from another comment, Oren, that I think came from Jesse A, where he said we need a nickname for the Quebecois big poutine combo.
Poutine we could do better than that. We could do better.
We can do better though, guys. In the comments, we gotta have something better. Come on, poutine combo number 2 got me for a bit.
I also like this comment from Sports Vibes TV, a Knicks fan, I suppose. Because I think that kind of stood out to me too. The Raptors, like, even though their starting unit kind of made a run in the second half, it was their bench that kept them in the game at the very least, and Flynn running that unit. And like, that's not something we could say about this team for most of the season. Usually their bench came in. Like, I'm writing a piece right now. I've been looking at some bench numbers, and like the Raptors almost never play with only one starter and a bench. They usually have at least 2 starters on the floor, just because like they've been so bad when they only have one starter. But I'm pretty sure that Flynn lineup was a 1 starter lineup, just him and the bench. And they did really, really well. Like, defensively, Birch was really good. Offensively, Flynn was obviously running it and hitting threes. So I was just like Sports Vibes. I was also impressed with the second unit.
Yeah, like I said, Malachi Flynn as a rookie. We talked about it last episode. Oren, summer league, the Bloc Quebecois. Okay, you won. Champagne Draw. You won. I wish we could give you your flowers. We're gonna give you some virtual flowers, some nice COVID-19 socially distanced flowers. The Bloc Quebecois is easily the best nickname by a mile. I don't know if you came up with that yourself, Champagne Draw.
No, I've seen it before.
Okay, but that's incredible. That's incredible. I love that nickname. I don't know how I haven't seen that on Twitter myself yet.
Oh, it's because that's like a political party in Quebec.
Yeah, and then some people were responding to him trying to
But whatever, this is spelled differently, and it's like a block, so we can.
Let's just have fun with it, guys.
Yeah,
I feel like we got a little bit of pent up anger in the comments.
Yo, how do you feel about the stop hating on Siakam. Do something better with your day.
Just please.
How do you feel about the purple jerseys?
At first
we might have talked about this in the past.
Yeah, so different stages for me, Oren.
Okay.
When they first got released on Twitter, I was pissed. I thought they didn't look all that great. I thought that Toronto could have done such a better job in terms of just designing around that. Like it felt too easy for them to just be like, okay, let's take the red and black jersey and just throw purple on there, that Raptors old purple, and just that's our earned jersey or whatever the hell it's called. But hey, man, someone was telling me on Twitter, I forgot who it was. Someone was telling me, hey, Sahal, wait till you see it on the players and then make your decision. And I can't lie, Oren, it does look a little bit better on players. It's still not my favorite jersey. If I were to rank them, Oren's probably the black alternate, the white, probably the black and gold, the red, and then the purple. So it's probably last for me. That and the red for me aren't really doing it. But it doesn't look as bad. Like, I thought it was atrocious when it first came out on pictures. It doesn't look that bad, especially on Gary Trent Jr. No, doesn't look that bad. What about you? What do you think?
I'm not a huge fan. I like the shorts.
Okay, fair.
There's like the claw kind of on the shorts.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, I think the purple jerseys and also the OVO jersey this year are not my favorites. I've liked past iterations more. But
yeah,
I think they hit on this black one that I got behind me. That one's really nice. One of my favorite jerseys in years.
The black alternate, and then the Jordan logo is like the perfect
Yeah, my roommate was saying like the purple jersey gives off Barney vibes. I kind of agree. It's just a little too purple, and it's not dark enough purple to be like cool. It's like a little childish.
Yeah, and now that I'm looking at some of the highlights, it's not a great jersey. It's not, and I'm not, put all the homerism aside, guys. I don't know what your favorite jerseys are in the comments. You can rank them, do whatever you like. We have Jesse here saying that we need to have a jersey that just says Toronto on it. I think the gold one, if I'm not mistaken, the OVO alternate says Toronto.
Yeah, it does.
Yeah. But it'd be cool. It'd be cool to have more jerseys. Sports Live TV echoes your thoughts, Barney. So, I'm not a fan. No, I'm not. The gold and black, they could have done a much better job on. The black alternate honestly saved this entire uniform variation for Toronto. It's I'm not a fan. I'm not a fan. I'm getting the black one, and now that I got a black Gary Trent Jr., I want a Kyle Lowry and I want an OG Anunoby, but I just don't know which colorway. I'm very skeptical, Oren, of getting white home jerseys, and that goes for anything. Raptors. If you guys can see, I got a little. Sorry, over there on that side, I got Tottenham.
Oh yeah, we beat you today. You watched that game? I'm a Man U fan, not like a hardcore one, but
okay. Yeah,
it was a good, solid win. Solid win. Do you like Mourinho?
No, I do not.
Nice,
can we change the subject, or no?
Right,
I was honestly thinking about taking this. Where is it? This jersey down.
You're down bad.
This, it's bad, man. It's bad. Tottenham. If you're a Tottenham fan, you're not in a good place. Any soccer fans in the comments, let us know what team you guys are supporting. And if you're too afraid, kind of like me, when people ask me, hey, Sahal, what team do you support? I kind of just like go into a shell with Tottenham. So, Mourinho out. I'm just going to highlight this for a quick sec and then just get rid of it for a sec. Mourinho out. But in terms of the Raptors, this would have been a great season for the Raptors to be a playoff contender or be a playoff team. It just looks like as each game goes by, Oren, that's kind of fading away for Toronto. People are saying, we said it, the last episode, that wins are wins and losses are wins. And I saw a very cool take from our friend Yasmin, who used to be known as Carmelo H. Drama on Twitter, but now she goes by the Neon Playbook. She made a really good point, Oren, that I wanted to bring up really quickly on this show. Hypothetically, we get the 7th to 10th overall pick, which is a lot like what it's going to look like, right? At least probability-wise. We get that
unless pick, Adam Silver does the right thing and gives us the number 1 pick, which he should do.
Yeah, exactly. And then we just, get Cade and we forget this entire season even happened. But hypothetically, Oren, we get the 8th pick, 9th pick, 10th pick, 7th pick, whatever it is. Do you do you draft a player with that pick, as weird as it sounds, or do you do what Yasmin mentioned is an option for Toronto where they can package it for potential star, maybe a Karl Anthony Towns. I can't really think of any other stars that they could package. I saw some options on Twitter. Karl Anthony Towns caught my eye immediately because of obviously the issue at the 5, the fact that he can stretch out there. Minnesota fans, if you're watching this, they're probably like, "What the hell?"
Yeah, exactly.
8th overall pick in a package for no, they're not going to take that. But is that an option for you, Oren? Packaging that potential pick for a good player for Toronto? They are. It does seem like their core can win right now.
Yeah, I mean, this season hasn't really shown that, but yeah, like their core has proved in the past around a star that they can win.
Yeah.
But yeah, I would definitely consider it. Like, it's one of those decisions that really defines a franchise, and it's the toughest decision it can make because on the one hand, there's going to be prospects in that range who you look at and you say, this guy could be like a franchise player for the next 10 years.
Yeah.
And it's really hard to trade that for like 2 years of a star. But at the same time, look at the Golden State Warriors, which we've talked about. They draft Wiseman for that exact reason. They think he can transition them from the Steph era to the Wiseman era. And right now, it's just looking like they wasted a year of Steph's prime.
Yeah.
Unfortunately, Wiseman just got injured, so I hope he makes a full recovery. But it looks like they made a bad decision because Wiseman obviously right now has so little trade value compared to if they traded the number 2 pick at the draft. So I think it's like one of those decisions that is so hard to make, and more often than not, teams don't make it. But I think Toronto, if they are in that range where they're not going to get a player who can contribute right away, like if they're in the 7 to 10 range, yeah, I think it makes a ton of sense to explore the trade market. But with that being said, you only are going to do a deal if there's a deal on the table. Like if a star, a legitimate star, is available, then you got to consider leveraging your future for a star. But it's pretty rare that like a guy like Cat or Bradley Beal is available. So I would do it if one of them were, for sure. But
yeah,
if you're only trading, like if you're trading like a pick for like just kind of an average wing who's like gonna help you but like is nothing crazy special, then no, I would rather kind of get the development pipeline going and kind of hold off until a star does come available.
Yeah, there's a lot of options. I'm scrolling up the comments, Oren, and I don't want to change the subject because this is something that I really wanted to mention on tonight's show. But you know, we mentioned Tottenham, and we've got fans everywhere. I didn't know there was this many soccer fans watching. We've got an Arsenal fan, an Everton fan. We've got a PSG fan. We've got a New York Red Bulls fan.
We got a game on Tuesday. That Bayern PSG game is going to be a really good one. It's
going to be huge. Yeah. We've got a Chelsea fan, lifelong West Brom fan. Wow. We've got everything.
I like this comment. I would not be opposed to that. Moving up in the draft to kind of get that makes sense too, because either way, you're getting a guy who will help you now. Like Mobley will immediately make them an elite defensive team. Cade would obviously make them a much better team. But other than Suggs, I think would also make them a significantly better team. But after the top 3, I think it's a lot of really raw players who I'm not sure would help right away.
Yeah. I mean, I think that Toronto's in a place where they're not forced to go anyway. They can trade up, they can stay where they are, and take a player that can help them right away, or even a player that can help them in 2-3 years, hypothetically, I want to say at least, and they can just put them through the development pipeline and just go with whoever their 8 to 11 guys are for the following season, or they could trade it. They can package it for a star. They can do. Toronto's in a position where it's a very unique position, Oren, because you look at the team from the outside looking in, and other fans of other teams are probably like, well, Toronto's not that good anymore. And it's easy to say that. I mean, they are much worse, I think, than they were last year, simply because their bench is almost non-existent.
Mm-hmm.
But I mean, the core is still there. Yeah. Anunoby, Siakam, Fred. You know, if Kyle comes back next year, who knows what's going to happen with him? Gary Trent Jr. looks every single game. It looks like he's going to be part of that long-term core. And I don't know if Masai would really trade for a 22-year-old promising, 3-and-D wing if he wasn't going to be part of that long-term core. But yeah, we got tons of options for Toronto coming up. A lot of people are mentioning SGA, Shai Gilgeous-Alexander.
I know. I just want to highlight. This is so funny to me. Like
Pascal and the 8th.
This person has such future brain that they already assume we have the 8th pick in the draft. Like it's a foregone conclusion that that's the number we got, and like this would be a possibility.
We're gonna have to come back, Jesse. We're gonna have to come back to this specific live show, and you're gonna have to start filling out some lottery tickets for me if we do end up with the 8th overall pick. I don't lean either way, Oren, in terms of using the pick or trading the pick. I don't, but I do think it was interesting that Yasmin on Twitter brought it up.
Yeah, me too.
If the Raptors do get a high pick, because I feel like no one was really thinking about that. We were all aboard the Cade train, all aboard the Mobley train, and then people started coming to a realization that, guys like Moses Moody, later on are probably going to be where Toronto's selecting. But no one really brought up that they might just package it for a star or for a, good NBA player. So that's something I definitely wanted to bring up. We've been going for quite a while.
Yeah.
Looks like 51 minutes so far.
Man, it's late too because that rain delay. We didn't even talk about that.
We didn't even talk about that. We didn't talk about all the players slipping on the free throw line. At one point I just wanted one player to just slip, fake an injury just so they could sue Mike Dolan, because I'm not a fan of him, and because he had a chance at getting Kyle Lowry, and he didn't. So shout out to Mike Dolan for that, and shout out to Masai Ujiri for that as well. I think we can wrap it up, Oren. What do you think?
Yeah, that's good for me.
Let's wrap it up. Let's give everyone – I feel like it's almost midnight here.
Yeah, thanks for joining us, everyone.
Yeah, we appreciate you guys joining us, I should say. This was the wrap-up. The official – oh, man, I always got to breathe in now because after each loss, it just takes a toll. So I got to, do that. The official Raptors Republic live post-game show. We appreciate all of you guys for being here. Like, comment, subscribe to the Raptors Republic channel. Do not leave. Again, I see some of you guys leaving. Don't leave yet. Like and comment before you leave. Turn on the post notifications. Subscribe to the Raptors Republic channel. We want to thank our sponsor, Arif Qureshi from Remax, for supporting the show. Your Toronto Raptors were defeated by the New York Knicks 102-96, bringing the Raptors record to 20-33 on the season. I'm your co-host, Sahal Abdi, again here with the great Oren Weisfeld. We'll see you guys the day after tomorrow, Oren?
Tomorrow? Yeah, so we got another back-to-back Tuesday, Wednesday. So yeah, the day after tomorrow. Good luck to us. 1-11 on the second night of a back-to-back, guys.
1-11. We'll see you guys next time. Take care. Sports Vibe TV. Thank you for the comment. We appreciate it. And we'll see you guys in a couple days. Take care.